Alright, here we are now on the carriage and the platen for the Blick 5. I'm going to go ahead and tilt this up a little bit. So I do always just want to check. I've fully photographed everything on this so I know exactly how to put it back together again. And that includes paying very close attention to how the springs are on here. One thing I do want to do is just look to see if it works. This is the line adjustment screw. So as you can see, as I'm turning it here, you can see this lever here will move forward and backwards. What that does is that determines how many lines I'm going to get every time. So the further down it's screwed in, I go one line at a time, and all the way up, I don't know, probably gives me 3 or 4 lines. But it does appear to be working. I have removed a couple of the paper things, and I have loosened the screws. So I'm going to show you how to take this thing apart. I soaked my nuts to make sure that they would come off easily, and did that previously. And I like to keep everything together so I know what side they came off of. I like to keep the same nuts going on the same screws. I think that's important. Then you come to the other end, I'm going to do the same thing. And I'll set those off to the side as well. Alright, those will all get polished up. Now, to remove the platen, I just have to start removing some screws. There's 2 here, and then there's 2 at this end. And I can remove those pretty easily now. So I'm going to start at this end. Hopefully they're going to be as easy to get off, because they have been soaking for a while. Let me find my screwdriver, which is always the challenge. Alright, that one's easy. I find it's better to use a bigger screwdriver just to break the hold on it. And I'm going to go ahead, I've got this backwards, so I'm going to change my pieces. I'm going to put the bell to the right. I like to do it as I'm looking at the machine. One thing I've learned is to pay close attention if there's a washer, perhaps, underneath a piece you're not suspecting. Then when that's off, see how that came off? Then literally all I have to do is wiggle it and it'll come off, which is nice. So again, I'm going to put all these on this end. I'm going to turn it around. Hopefully I'll have the same luck moving these. This one here is a little harder to get into, I have to admit. But there we go, that one's loose. And let's get this one going. I don't know if I can get that one in there or not. Usually it takes a long, skinny screwdriver to do that. There it goes. Alright, so we're going to get both of these off here real quick. And that should remove the platen support brackets and the mechanism on the end. So then the rail here will go right into the ultrasonicator. And now let's just be careful. That screw came out. These screws are not in the best of shape. And there it came off. So I'm just going to set it off to the side. There's my screws. These go on the other end. I turned it around. So now we've got the platen separated. That'll just come up. Here on the end, I like to take this apart. So if I just put my screwdriver or a wrench on the end of that, use my needle nose, So I'm going to need 2 pair of needle nose, one on each end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this down, get it out of the way a little bit. Move this piece out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to need to put a pair of pliers on that end and a pair of pliers on this end to break it loose. These little brass nuts come off pretty easily in my experience. And again, so I take that piece apart. And again, I'm going to keep this together. So I'm going to put it back on. So this piece is ready to be polished. Put in the ultrasonicator. It's ready to go. Now we'll continue taking a look at this piece so we can get it cooking. I'm going to set the platen off to the side. There are a few more things we can do on here, or we can just put the whole thing in like this. I'm just going to look at it real quick. And I think it's fine for me to put this in the ultrasonicator just as it is. So I'm going to take my oil rag. I don't like to put any extra dirt in to my cleaning bath. So I'm just going to wipe off the excess grease and grime that have accumulated over the last 100 years on this. It'll save me some time because I won't have to tear this whole thing apart. So then this is going to go right into my ultrasonicator. I'm going to drop that in, and then I'll come back on the platen. Alright, so that's over in the ultrasonicator. Let's take a look at this end. See how it's put together. My guess is this piece here is going to have to screw off, and I don't have that tool. They make a tool, that 2-prong that fits in there, you turn, and it quite simply takes that off. Without that tool, removing this piece I have found to be very, very difficult. So what I'll probably wind up doing, and again, this is for my collection, I'm not doing this for a museum or to really resell, is I will probably wind up just polishing this myself and cleaning it up by hand and not putting it in the ultrasonicator. If I decide when I'm done that I like the typewriter, I may decide to go ahead and nickel plate everything and take it back to its full original condition. But anything short of that, it's amazing how quickly and what can be accomplished with just a wire brush. And you'll notice from time to time I tap my brush either on my pants leg or on a towel, and what that does is it helps get the grime, any little oil that I'm picking up off of a unit, rather than smearing it around, it removes it and puts it on the towel. So it helps me clean faster. You can probably see my wire brush is about done. I do use these until there's absolutely nothing left of them. Take your time. Pay careful attention when you're doing this around any springs. You really don't want to ruin a spring if you don't have to, or replace it. Alright, I'm going to spend a few more minutes doing this. But as you can see, It doesn't take too long for it to clean up really quite well. So I'm going to do that, spend a few more minutes on this and on a couple of the other pieces while the base of the carriage is in the ultrasonicator. And when that comes out, we'll show you how we get things polished up.